Guys, I'm back with another video for you today, and I'm excited about this particular house because I've been wanting to cover this house on the channel and I haven't had a chance to, but I'm finally doing it today in this video. I'm talking about the house of Veronique Gabai. They've been around since 2019, and I think that's when I discovered this house. And since then I've been curious, but as I said, today I've got a video on 3 of their fragrances: Sexy Garrigue, Minuit de Jasmine, and then also Souvenirs De Tunisie. 3 different fragrances, floral, amber, but beautiful, beautiful fragrances, and they captured with the inspiration of this brand, which is basically the south of France, the Cote D'Azur. Antibes is where the founder is from, Antibes, and the inspiration is totally right on, I think, and I experience it from the fragrances. So today I'm going to let you know about these 3 fragrances and also let you know how you can get samples or decants, and I have a discount code as well. So if you want to find out about these 3 fragrances from Veronique Gabai, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yes, this is a brand I've been wanting to cover on the channel, and finally I am. I love discovering new houses, new fragrances, and the only way you're going to find out you love a fragrance is if you wear it and sample it and things like that, obviously. And one of these fragrances I'm really, really loving. The other 2 I really love, but one of them I really, really love, if that makes sense, right? They're really, really great fragrances. I'll put them in order after I tell you about them. But as I said, one of them I really, really love. 2 I really love. Of course, that discount code as well, where you can go and discover this collection of fragrances. They have more than 3 fragrances, and they're all available at Scent Split, and there is a discount code I'll let you know all about as well. So before we get to the fragrances and that discount code, if this is your first time tuning into my channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click that subscribe button below, and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So how many of you know the brand Veronique Gabai? Have you sampled their fragrances? This is how their bottles are. This is Sexy Garrigue. This is Jasmin De Minuit. And then this is Souvenirs De Tunisie. So 3 different fragrances. The Sexy Garrigue focuses on an amber. It's like a warm amber fragrance, but it's nicely contrasted with contrasting notes like woods and aromatic herbs, and of course pine and things like that. The Jasmin De Minuit is actually a fragrance focusing on jasmine, obviously, and it has a very Mediterranean kind of coastal kind of a vibe to it. And then of course the Souvenirs De Tunisie is all about neroli orange blossom, 2 of my favorite notes. You know I love this kind of stuff, and it really does work here, but it has a nice contrasting note once again, and I'll let you know what it is. So if you want to go check out these fragrances at Scent Split, I have a link in the info box. You can, and use the discount code TPG10. T as in the, P as in perfume, G as in guy, so TPG10, and that'll save you 10% off samples and decants. And you know, some of you like samples and decants, they have bottles there as well. And some of you buy bottles, but I recommend you buy samples or decants first, because you know, sometimes my taste might not be your taste, but you'll obviously follow me because you like my taste and the types of fragrances I like and speak about. So definitely go check them out and use that discount code. And let's go ahead and get started with the first fragrance. But before I do, but I already mentioned it, the founder, Veronique Gabai, is from the south of France, and that's the town of Antibes, and the fragrances are inspired from that part of the world. And I really do think they do come off that way, especially with, well, all 3 of them do. Anyway, I've sampled only 3 of the fragrances from this house, and I do think that they are very inspired from that part of the world. I'd like to sample more after this video to see what else they have, but Sexy Garrigue is definitely that, Sexy Garrigue. And Garrigue is a part of the Mediterranean forest where a lot of the ingredients that are in this fragrance come from, and it creates this kind of like an interesting fusion of warmth and heat and coastal air and things like that to create a fragrance. And I think they've definitely captured it here in Sexy Garrigue, and Sexy Garrigue is definitely that, very, very sexy to wear. I like it, and I like it because of the contrasts, because sometimes fragrances go in one direction. You know, it's all about that. But here we have the contrasting notes. We've got some interesting woods and aromatic herbs in here, nicely contrasted with the very warm resins and labdanum and things like that. So the notes in Sexy Garrigue are labdanum, resins, Alep trees, patchouli, amber, vanilla, mandarin orange, aromatic herbs. So those are the only notes that are credited here. But it's a very, very sexy spray. You spray it on and you start experiencing the labdanum with the resins. And basically labdanum, resins, and vanilla creates your amber accord. Here we have a very ambery experience, but that Alep tree note comes in. And of course, Alep trees grow in that part of the Garrigue in the south of France. So it's a given that they would use it here in this particular fragrance. And you know, I think this is what really starts toning down the sweetness of the amber. So if you have no Alep trees, if you don't have the aromatic herbs, and of course the patchouli as well, it's going to go in one direction, ultra sweet. Here it tones it down, and that's what I like about it. Plus it adds this kind of sparkliness to the fragrance and a beautiful contrast. You're experiencing the green touches from the Alep tree, the herbal touches from the aromatic herbs. And you know, the aromatic herbs, they're not really saying what they are, but it could be something like lavender. Of course, it grows widely in the south of France, perhaps thyme, maybe even rosemary and some other things like tarragon and things like that, basil. But I think it's more like lavender, you know, thyme and things like that. It's definitely there. You experience it. And again, this note, along with the Alep tree note and also the patchouli, really nicely contrast to create a very, very sexy concoction that I really, really love. I think as soon as I smelled this one, it was like, okay, I want this. This is so good. It smells really, really great. I love ambers, but I also like them when they're contrasting with the amber touches of a fragrance. So that's Sexy Garrigue. I really, really love it. I hope you guys get to check it out. One more thing I want to say, I don't want to promote another brand here, but you know me, I like my ambers. And for me, even though it doesn't smell like something like Ambra Calabria from the House of Nichane, that's also an amber, but it's also contrasted with a lot of green notes to make it a little more easier to wear. This, I think, in comparison to that, is a lot more intense as far as the ambery touches go. Not as fresh as that fragrance, but the idea is kind of similar. So those of you that like that and you like that idea, not the smell, because they don't smell alike, definitely should check out Sexy Garrigue. So that's Sexy Garrigue, and I'll let you know where it fits with the rest of the fragrances. The next one I'm going to talk to you about is Jasmin De Minuit. This, to me, is very, very authentic smelling jasmine. Authentic smelling jasmine, as in as soon as you pick up a jasmine bush, you know, the leaves and smell it, or the flowers, literally smells like that, but then a lot more. I'm going to add a visual here. Imagine you're in the south of France. It's warm. It's breezy though. You know, sea breeze and things like that are out there. And then you run across this jasmine bush and you're like, I want to smell how it smells. That's kind of what they've done here. But it's also a little late, you know, Jasmin De Minuit, it's midnight jasmine. That is also in the picture. So you're having not only the warmth, it's the evening, this is midnight obviously, so you're getting all of this kind of unique qualities of this fragrance come alive. I think it's a great jasmine, it's a little sea breezy and things like that, but definitely a very strong smelling, authentic jasmine. This once again is a 2019 launch. I would call this a floral. And for notes in Jasmin De Minuit, it's bergamot, jasmine, vetiver, patchouli, sea air. So it's a beautiful white flower, and the white flower obviously is the jasmine, contrasted with not only the aromatic notes here, but also patchouli. The patchouli does come in as a, you know, woody earthiness to the fragrance. Definitely is an earthy kind of a creation here, and of course the sea breeze has a kind of a marine touch running throughout it. To me, it's not overdose of aquatic marine. It's there, and it's more of a sea breeze rather than like it's actual the sea, you know, mixed in with the composition here. So there is a breezy touch for sure, and it makes for a great fragrance. This is something that you would wear if you are a fan of florals and you love jasmine and how authentic that the smell can be. That's the kind of smell you would go for. It really does smell authentic, and it really puts me in a place, as I was saying, somewhere in the south of France or somewhere where it's warm and kind of like on the sea. It's warm and breezy, and the flowers are kind of bloomed, and they're kind of like over ripened from the heat, and you can smell it just walking by, and that's why you kind of go towards it to smell it even further. I really like it. I like this a lot. I think all three creations today that I'm going to talk to you about are top notch. Definitely check out Jasmin De Minuit, and it makes me want to check out more fragrances from this house, because if I'm really enjoying these three fragrances, I can only imagine the rest of the fragrances are going to be great as well. One other thing I did notice about this house, they have boosters, so you can add these boosters to the fragrances or wear them together to kind of make them twist a little different and add a unique twist to the fragrances, if that makes sense. I've spoken a lot about boosters, primers, enhancers on the channel, so I'm very, very curious about the boosters from Veronique Gabai as well. So hopefully I'll get the chance to check those out in the near future as well. So the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about today is Souvenirs De Tunisie, and basically it stands for Souvenirs from Tunisia. And this one actually really caught my attention because it focuses on orange blossom and neroli. Great notes and fragrances. And I love the citrus tree. And citrus trees are plenty on the Mediterranean. You're kind of born near them. Me being from the Mediterranean, I know these trees and I love them, and I love the way they smell. They're so fragrant. This one takes you to Tunisia though, and adds a unique twist to the fragrance, and I'll let you know what that is, the note. But this one has notes of orange blossom, neroli, davana, honeycomb, almond, sandalwood, vanilla. When you heard that almond note, that's the unique twist to the fragrance that I think is very, very unique. And of course, as I said, I have a link to Scent Split in the info box. You can go there and discover the entire collection, not only Souvenirs de Tunisie, and use that discount code TPG10 to save 10% off all samples and decants. But what I like about this one, it's interesting. This is kind of a watery experience. It's almost like when you first spray it or smelling it out of the bottle, it seems light and not intense. Like it doesn't smell rich for some reason, the orange blossom and neroli, like not pungent. But when I'm wearing it, it starts developing and becomes more stronger and stronger and stronger. But it still feels like there's a watery touch. I feel like the inspiration is a coastal experience, a coastal orange tree grove, and the flowers are bloomed, and you're smelling these flowers, and you're also smelling a little water. Not necessarily aquatic, but maybe it's a lake, maybe it's a river, maybe it's a little pond, or a water fall or something. Something is there watery running throughout the fragrance, which I totally get here. But for me, it's mostly about those orange flower and the neroli notes, the citrus flowers. It really comes alive on me, but there's that watery touch, as I said. It's nicely blended together. You experience a little bit of sweet touches in here from the honeycomb, but there's also this kind of greenish davana note running throughout it, which adds a unique twist to the fragrance. And I like that davana note, sort of licoricey, slightly boozy experience, not overly, but slightly. Then the almonds come in, and it almost kind of goes into a gourmand direction, like you're sitting under a tree of orange tree, like an orange grove, and you're having some kind of like an almond cake or something. And that's really, really prominent here, because the fragrance, as it's drying down, it becomes woody, sandalwoody, so it's creamy, and then it's vanillic. So almonds, sandalwood, vanilla, you kind of have this kind of like this fresh floral start and kind of like a woody, almost gourmand, nutty end to the fragrance. But a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. I like the contrast again, once again. Not as contrasting as Sexy Garrigue with its totally contrasting notes, because this one actually is more of an evolution rather than right off the bat contrasting like Sexy Garrigue was. But it definitely, the evolution from the fresh floral notes down to the woody, vanillic, nutty notes is really, really beautiful. I'm going to tell you, this is my second favorite. Sexy Garrigue is my first favorite. I absolutely love Sexy Garrigue. And Jasmin De Minuit, it's a great scent. Don't get me wrong. I love it. It smells authentic. The jasmine is so authentic. It's my third favorite. So this is really, really great. And it's given I would like this number 2 because I really love these notes. It's my favorite. It's in kind of in my blood, I guess. I grew up around them. So I really love the orange tree and the flowers off of it. Everything about that tree is really, really precious for me. And it's definitely nicely captured here with that unique twist of the almonds at the end of the fragrance. So that's Souvenirs de Tunisie. And those are the fragrances I was talking about today, or I'm talking about today, from the house of Veronique Gabai. Let me know if you're a fan of this house or if you're curious to discover them, if you haven't discovered them yet. Which fragrance sounds the best to you? Sexy Garrigue, Jasmin De Minuit, or is it Souvenirs de Tunisie? Put a comment down so I can find out. Also, guys, if you are curious to learn more about them, as I said, go to scentsplit.com. I have a link in the info box, and use the discount code TPG10 for samples and or decants or even full bottles there. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.